Thank you very much. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm talking slowly so Mike Phillips gets a chance to set up. Oh, I didn't even see you there, Mike. Good. So actually, this is something, I have my speech here, but before I even start, I want you to know how seriously passionate I am about this. I know just about everybody here knows how much I like to bike. I've liked to bike throughout much of my life. My intensity for biking really increased after 2010. A little over 10 years ago, I returned from a year living and working as a diplomat embedded with the U.S. Army in northern Iraq. And if you don't have a problem with our reliance on fossil fuels, spend a year when friends and colleagues are literally losing their life because American policy is shaped by our reliance on fossil fuels, and you'll understand how important things like we're doing today, things like Dee Durham and so many people here are fighting for every day, and things like Senator McBride is fighting for every day on the state level, you'll understand how important they are. So today we're having fun. We're talking about some changes in land use that make this a great place to own an electric vehicle. But to me personally, there's a very serious undertone to this, not just about saving our environment, which is extremely important, and preserving it for future generations, not just about creating green jobs, which is extremely important, but also about a foreign policy that shouldn't be relying on fossil fuels anymore. And it takes local action to make sure that that happens. And I appreciate so many people coming out to support it today. Most electric vehicle charging occurs at home. We're doing our best as an employer and as a government serving the people of our county to make publicly available chargers. And I know a lot of businesses are as well. But most charging does occur at homes. And this ordinance that I'm about to sign today will require new homes and apartments in unincorporated Newcastle County to be EV capable, electric vehicle capable, meaning they'll need to have the basic infrastructure necessary to enable future installation of electric vehicle chargers. This law I'm signing will help homeowners and renters by making it easier and less expensive to go electric. The law will also, of course, benefit our environment. According to the International Council on Clean Transportation, the greenhouse emissions over the life of an average medium-sized battery electric vehicle are 60% lower than comparable gasoline cars in the United States. That's 60% less fossil fuels being used over the average life of a medium-sized battery electric vehicle. And as the electric grid, of course, becomes greener, more alternative sources of energy are used, electric vehicles, of course, become greener as well. Our transition to electric vehicles won't just mean a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. It will also have public health benefits from breathing cleaner air. A lot of thanks go around for the work on this ordinance. I want to start with our land use staff. Rich Hall, the general manager of land use, is here. I don't know if George Haggerty is here, but I know he's worked very hard on it as well. Dave Holston, Mike Connors, Brian Merritt from our legal team. I don't know if Brian came out today. I told him to stay in his office and keep working. So he's probably still there. Along with County Council, Councilman Cartier, Councilwoman Durham, both of whom you'll hear from, I believe, shortly. So many members, leaders in the environmental community who are here today, Sierra Club, League of Women Voters, and others whose advocacy and critique of various drafts of this version are critical to us being here today. I want to thank and congratulate particularly Councilwoman Durham as the sponsor. Did a tremendous amount of work on the draft ordinance, the substitutes, the amending. There's a lot of detail that goes into it. It's easy for us to stand up and talk about how important supporting the environment is, how important electric vehicles are, but getting in the details with the homeowners, and I don't know if anyone from the Homeowners Association is here, the Home Builders Association rather, but collaborating with the home builders to make sure this is something that's actually feasible and is going to work in our community. And Councilwoman Durham really led the charge on so much of that. And also, we're very fortunate that she was so willing to collaborate with us. We worked very hard to get something that all of council and the administration could support. So when Sherry is done taking the picture, I want to invite Councilwoman Durham up to speak. Councilwoman Durham.
Borrowing his table. Thank you, County Executive. I really appreciate your kind remarks, and I'll just add a few things, I guess. I will say, they say making legislation is like making sausage, and I want to thank, first of all, my assistant, Chris Coonahan, because he and I started talking about this and working on this back in December, so you can see how long it took. But I will say the sausage making in this case definitely made a better bill. And as one example, I think it might have been Councilman Cartier who pointed out to us at the 11th hour at the last version that we weren't taking into account parking spaces for accessible parking spaces. So we added that in at the last minute, and that's just one example of improvements that were made along the way. And I do think ultimately we ended up with a great bill at the end. And the county, I also want to thank Senator McBride and Dustin Thompson and Sherry Evans Stanton from the Sierra Club, because they're the ones that brought it to my attention for what Senator McBride was trying to do at the state level. And I was hoping to follow behind her the bills she was working on regarding EV ready and EV capable. But so there was some back and forth at that point. We started out thinking we could do EV ready. Turned out we couldn't, because the county doesn't regulate the electrical code, so we had to back off to EV capable. And so I'm now tossing the ball to Senator McBride to hopefully do what's necessary at the state level, which she was already leading the way on anyway. So we just got, I think a rising tide floats all boats, and this bill does what we can at the county level in terms of our building code. So really excited about that. And I may just add a fact or two to what Matt brought up. One of the intriguing stats that I kept reading about was that the market right now is about 3% EVs being sold every year. But in 10 years, that's expected to go to about 30%. And with the cumulative effect of all those being sold already and through those 10 years, the number of EVs actually out there being used is going to be even higher than 30%. And as Matt said, most people want to be able to charge at home. So to be able to make that easier and less costly for folks to charge at home is obviously the whole idea behind the bill. So I'd also like to just thank my co-sponsors, Councilman Cartier, Councilman Carter, and Councilman Tackett, who I don't think is here today, but they supported the bill all along the way. And just excited to be here today and have the county do its part and let the state take over and carry the ball forward the next step. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, Councilwoman Durham. This ordinance at some level is about construction and changes in our construction industry to modernize our code to match that. We're very fortunate to have a member of County Council who has substantial experience in the construction industry, and that experience really helped us to make a better ordinance, to build a better ordinance in collaboration with the construction industry. Without further ado, Councilman Cartier.
Thank you, Matt Meyer. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you, Councilwoman Durham, for having the vision to carry through from the council side. This ordinance is coming forward. It was a great collaboration. I did my share. And I think that this ordinance is looking into the future where we need to be a greener, cleaner county. And we're going to enable that through this legislation. And the other thing about this that was always very compelling to me, this ordinance, EV capable standard, is very friendly to small business, because what will happen, I can see a day down the road when our electrical contractor industry, our small shops, are going to be very busy installing these charging units in homes and go into apartment complexes. So in every way, the EV capable standard makes for a greener, cleaner county. It's friendly to small business, and will build the future with EV cars and transportation that we need to have for the future. So thanks for everybody involved, and I was glad to be here to do my part. I'm looking forward to this being signed into law. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Cartier. We're sort of, our last speaker is the person who kind of kicked this all off in some ways. Senator McBride reached out to Councilwoman Durham, I think was already working on something like this, and myself, I don't know, almost a year ago now, to talk about collaborating on something like this. I'm not sure we'd be here today without her leadership, of course, at the state level, and turns out at the county level too. Senator McBride.
Well, first off, thank you all so much for being here. And County Executive, I'm just glad I didn't have to drive in with all the cameras pointed my way. You did a pretty good job, B+. And I'm just so, I'm so privileged to be here to witness the outcome of advocacy by amazing advocates, including the wonderful Sierra Club, the work of Councilwoman Durham, Councilmember Cartier, and County Executive Meyer. Today really is about forward-thinking policymaking. Today is about preparing for the future, as Councilman Cartier mentioned. Today is about the first county and the first state helping to set the model for Delaware. And I want to really thank Councilmember Durham's commitment, persistence, passion on this among so many other issues facing our constituents. It's really a privilege to work with both you and Councilman Cartier and County Executive Meyer, because I think all of you are forward-thinking leaders who recognize that if we don't anticipate the issues of tomorrow today, then Delaware and Delawareans will suffer. The shift to electric vehicles is not ideological, it's imminent and it's inevitable. The planet demands it and the market has ordained it. As Councilmember Durham mentioned, the major automobile manufacturers have already announced that they are moving in this direction. And while demand might not be present right now in the EV market space, it's going to be. It's going to be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. This is going to be the most significant shift in our economy and our society since the advent of the internet, and before that, the creation of the automobile itself. And this ordinance is one part of the larger strategy of making sure that Delaware is prepared for that shift. As the county executive mentioned, home charging is at this point still by far the most practical way to charge an electric vehicle, which is why at the state level, the Senate passed last session legislation that I sponsored to require our largest municipalities to create permit processes for curbside electric vehicle charging stations. It's why this ordinance is so critical for the hundreds of thousands of Delawareans who have on-property parking, the thousands of Delawareans in the future who will buy new homes that now will be EV capable and will make electric vehicles more practical, more accessible, more affordable for the average Delawarean. And so we're not just preparing for the future, but we're ensuring that Delaware helps to win the future. And I'm really honored to be here today to watch you sign this ordinance, County Executive.
There we go. All signed.